The following erection retrospective was recorded on November 5th, 2024. Let us open by praying a Patriot's prayer. Dear Lord.
Baby, I can't hear you.
Dear Lord, we are faithful poor men serving unto thee. Make us great, make us free, thy will get her done. Deliver unto us a lustful sadist for sedition, a rapist felon filled with hate, an X-rated red savior pumping deep his fist straight up a nation great. Welcome to Turd Round the World. It's a familiar year of rising fear, and the US of A reckons with the stitches in its fabric. Fear is a great lubricant to the movements of the markets, and for the punters sporting starched white shirts, it's a general erection year. Bing, bing, bang, bang, bing, bing, bing. Beyoncé dropped her newest album, Cowboy Carter, and its opening song, American Requiem, asks if there's something we can stand for. How about reclamation of our constellated symbol, co-opted by extremists? Bang, bang, bing, bing, bing. Beyoncé mentions never being able to settle into a pretty house, which reads, personal and collective. On the song Yaya, she spells out the name written on her birth certificate, B-E-Y-I-N-C-E, when she was born, not in the 1800s, not on the Chitlin Circuit, not when the Beatles refused to play a segregated bowl, but in Texas, 1981. Her mother told the hospital that they got her name wrong. The hospital clapped back. She was lucky to get a birth certificate. Right. Her mother should have known better than to ask. Not all birth certificates matter the same, and it's privilege enough to be born. Remember that Thomas Jefferson quote? All men are created equally, but I need a fifth to feed me. You earn your name like you earn your land. It's merit-based. You gotta fight for your right to earn your name. Say it. Beyoncé ends her song Yaya with some outreach. Vote. Voting can feel inconsequential, and with some immunity granted to presidents, 'cause empire's gonna empire, voting can feel powerless. But proving that you too can climb from the rungs of the double underpaid arches to the west wing of the White House. Kamala Harris, the Democratic presidential nominee, has made waves along the South Shorelines and is using Beyoncé's song Freedom for their campaign. Are there really two presidential candidates? The Republican nominee, unapologetically rooted in racism, cut his political milk teeth as a founding farter of Barack Obama birtherism lies, for which we're grateful he's apologized. Do you remember those days? Obama, a man of Wichita line. His mother was born in Kansas, of parents born in Kansas, could have been born with the musk of a colony on Mars, and he'd still have U.S. birthright. But Fox News fluffed the suspicion. That's weird. Corn of Kansas crop doesn't grow like that. Must be witchcraft in the wire. The nation concurred with gnashing enamel. And email chains forwarded message from mammal to regressive mammal. He was born across state line? He's no president of mine. Now Donald, we'll call him by his spin class moniker, DJ Turd, swaying hearts with town hall sharts. This guy is anti-trans people playing sports, but his mother was an alien sailing with the sailors. Before World War II, with a fist of $50, Mummy left Scotland on the Royal Transylvania ferry. She crossed over for freedom and hope on the prairie. For years she contributed to this country as a maid and servant earning a low wage. The United States gave refuge to her poor predicament. Welcome, blue-eyed kin of good behavior, for unto us you will bear our Savior. A half-British spy with the Lord's third eye. And he was a golden boy who loved golden showers. A short-shafted haggis sipping Arnold Palmer. Shalana Donna Bing Bong. after 2 decades of abject racist dumps on human beings, he was rewarded and rewarded the crest of the Conservative Party. He has tried to also use Beyoncé's song Freedom at his rallies, but his campaign was issued a cease and desist. Now he's free ballin'. If he wins the presidency again, the desperate despot has made a slalom fist pump promise to be a dictator tot on day one. Billionaire Yahtzees and crude buttcrackers are scared wigless about losing their heritage of power and are boosting his behind. Together, hell-bent on dispossessing and disposing of citizen rights, look alive! Lizards of the Hive for Project 2025 and its reptilian sister, AFPI. What's some of that influence swarming the down ballot this year? Religious radicals and nutty nationalists at the ready to restructure in the smoke rising their wet dream of militant blessedness with a vengeance. Shark Tank mansplainers steering the great divide of leadership through the birth canals. Limited government at its finest. My small business? Hands off. A woman's agency? Have at it. This just in. Sean Hannity reports on a salmonella dem sampling the cookie dough. They're eating the babies. Our party is pro-bake, bro. Cake begins at batter. And if the sponge collapses in the middle, so be it. We saw that ultrasound. It would have been a pumpkin cake if the oven wasn't rigged. You'll carry your Christian faith to term if we have to choke you with old gory glory. And salute, what happened to mind your own midness? In this assault-loving country, where there are more firearms than there are people, and tens of thousands dying of gun violence every year, America does better. Yes. No other wealthy country beats us on this. Firearms are the leading cause of her children dying. Quick! Privatize education and abolish the department. Defund the public library. Ban books. White out the published word. Empty thought clips while nail-gunning the blue sky with concepts of prayer. USA! USA! Jesus said, pack your baby bump stock and pump it up. For decades, crime has been going down, but what did the fox say? It doesn't feel that way. The F Your Feeling syndicate gets touchy. Do you feel free? Roll out the yellow tape, my friend. Cue the storm drum cinematics, and bang, that dong gong liberty. Hear the siren yelping. Awoo! Awoo! Ah! Foxy. The siren song of sycophants to their constituents. Bing bang, bong bong, bing 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 bang, bong bong, bing bing bing. So, for the third threshing time, without a stitch of irony, who has the party of family values, good God faith, better business practices, and law and ironclad order put forward to deliver us? The master of all name-calling, a bully addicted to vindictive fictiveness, and never missing a run-on day to own the libtard woke dem horse faces and those disloyal to his soggy freedom-fried name, talking and talking until meaning loses all shape and form. A dishonorable disgrace who says POWs are not heroes. No hero of mine gets captured. Medal of Freedom is better than Medal of Honor, 'cause winners aren't wounded suckers or dead losers. A bankrupted casino con with a sharp eye for QVC45 stakes. A real estate mogul so powerful he struggles getting loans in the U.S. In 2008, when things were great, his son Junior told the Bridging U.S. and Emerging Markets Real Estate Conference that the ritzy end of their portfolio was disproportionately made up of assets Russians poured money into. Daddy is a deal maker so fartful, it took 30 years to not build a tower in Moscow, because a little presidency got in the way. A misleader, easy to manipulate. Can we get a mic'd up bidet, an endoscopic spray, and probe his 2016 Cairo kiss? With a Team 10 million gold bill sphincter bar sucked back to the orange-brown abyss? He left the transactional me coin legacy. They're standing by their standman's accordion hands moving faster than the plaid tri-island salesman. An adjudicated sexual predator. Dad, why did you vote for a rapist? Did you not know? I didn't vote for a rapist, son. I voted for pro-life policy. Dad, why have we been going fishing on a Sunday? Well, son, Pastor fornicated outside of wedlock while his wife was pregnant. We're shopping for a new shepherd. But Dad, DJ David Dennison, when his third wife was pregnant, he had an affair with an adult film star during Shart Week. And he had some laundry chores. But then he paid her to hush up before the 2016 election. Is this the focus on the family values you're talking about? Son, I don't care, nor should you. The Lord works in mysterious ways, and the Lord is using this man mightily despite his flaws. We should be talking about Clinton's BJs. Dad, did the Lord use Clinton too? No, son. God is a Republican. He's an elephant? Yes, he's the big elephant. But Dad, isn't the leader of the elephant herd the matriarch? Never mind, son. Dad, I want 5 wives, but I also want to love on 2 pornographic priestesses, okay? As long as I vote for elephants, will the Lord still use me? Yes, son. Now you're understanding. Publicly, we will disown you if you bring shame upon our name. We will seek pity in our prayer chains. But in our hearts, we will ask that the Lord use you in his mighty wind. Trunks up, trunks up. Blow out for a felonious punk convicted of fraud on 34 counts. Tote! An uncool weasel happy to hire undocumented laborers for his own smelly back nine. Tote, tote! Married not 1, but 2 beautiful immigrants while publicly bashing immigrant people. Tote! Tote! How rich. Don't give migrant birds a bad name. And where's your own proof of authenticity? Show us the kayfabe baby birth certificate from Loompa Land. Loompa, Loompa, stick it up your dumpa. Show it. That's okay. We're all half-bred crossbreeds, and you're on candidate camera proudly heavy-petting your pedigreed in the greed registry. The proverbial biblical fool, quick to opine and loath to understand. What are some favorite Bible verses from this boorish spray tan? Only the best. Eye for an eye. Vengeance is not the Lord's, it's mine. And something about slapping one butt cheek, but don't neglect to grope the other. Oh, and it came to pass that the offspring of the huckster was given top security clearance and high office, as was their birthright. And the Son of Man came back to find fear of equal opportunity. And Jesus saith unto them, immigrants are filthy animals. The ice Jesus cometh. Baby, I ain't playin'. Deport from me. Yeah. Jesus is still waiting for his green card, but Jesus is just dull white with us. What we need is a president who can run the country like a mother golden goose. Welp, okay. From 2016 to 2020, President failed to divert the half-century trillions tradition of water the national debt, then we'll tap it like a hot asset. But what did we expect? dumping debtors don't pay down delinquent debts. Our founding fetus lowered the minimum age requirement for president to 12 years old. Let's bro! Go! Let's bro! At the start of 2024, this challenger to the incumbent president was itching for a mushroom rematch of shriveled shiitake. Now, let us compare our toadstools, the winners and losers determined by handicap stroke and circle width. Leaders endowed, reflexive for the cause. Drop your knickerbockers, drop your drawers, and show us what you're mucking with. Here's a funny thing about the cross. It's not a stiff battle sword. It's a soft inverted phallus. And dewy taint brawny craniums must remain vigilant with their susceptibility to emasculation. Exposure to a single male falsetto note can nuke an entire batch of baby batter goop. Speaking of stiff head, Jesse walks on waters, and polymarket teabaggers stuffed with straw, and smug-muggin' wind-up toy weirdo Ben Shapiro are scared limp-wrist they'll catch the gay if they don't vote maggot. But let's stick to facts. These tag team bromos go mushroom head to mushroom head in a game of fantasy phallus water sports. Grab 'em by the fallacies! With all the glory of their ad hominem hummers, they sure overcompensate in their feeling secure about voting for a dodgy flag-hugging draft dodger. A real American Flaggit. Toss those skulls a tampon to soak up giving brain. Make it glitter, boys, make it rain. Yankee-doodle, yank the reins. If thou shalt confess with thy mouth, spermatodump is thy bro-ho, then will his spirit come inside thy swallow. His gift bestoweth unto bro autofellatio. But Dump tells it like it is. He's not politically correct, 'cause he's not a politician. That's virtue enough for us. The Dump spoketh, and the AP reporteth. Wah, 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 wee. Here's Mike Pence with the common sense, and J.D. Vance on cleanup dance. What the president is saying is actually this. And here's Fox News with the lucid follow-up. The radical left would have you believe the president said that when, if you go to the Gleek translation, he really said this. Quoting him saying that is of malicious intent. Don't believe anything that which would have your red hat savior feelings disrupted. You tell those animal-style traitors. He didn't mean that, 'cause he told it like it's this. Untape Dump's diaper, and look at what's inside his Shart. Looks like we have some breaching news. There's been a minor disturbulence in the MAGA force. Speaking without orange proxy to us. Jesus said he's fulfilling his promise. In the interests of heaven, you, Candace Owens, must exit. I spoke with my father, and the Father has blessed it. A palace for a doll I've prepared just for ya. Kukulny domik dla musheniki u metro Mayakovskaya. Который, как ты сказал, любишь, да? Что ты скажешь? Спасибо большое, папа. Я вел себя плохо. Это моя мага девочка. Так, хорошо. Many conservatives and professing Christians feel that they have a chokehold on patriotism. But the conservative platform's punch-down candidate could eat the flag he so loves to hug and still squirt patriotic blanks. For nearly a decade, this crusty clown giving clowns a bad name, who derides U.S. allies while fawning over violent authoritarians, who insults his own country's intelligence while siding with the foreign body spunk of a murderous Sputnik autocrat, has campaigned on the promise of jailing those who bedevil him. And the good, benevolent saint salivated. Yes, that's our American man. That's our security blanket. That's the spirit of due process. Sir, Permission to act my worst, sir. Freedom granted. Strike up the gland, and let us come together in our basted love of hating black men wearing tan and women wearing pantsuits. He's the biggest, the bestest, the greatest symptom from an enlarged bro state. A colonial hair plug crown on a bucket of newt juice and caterpillar pus. This metastasized teabag variety milks pink, green, and murky white. Donors, bankroll please. Money, 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 honey. When has it ever been about anything but power and control and the money and fame, the honeyest of the fuzzy bunnies? How does today's political temperature compare to yesterday? Roll the Get Back Beatles documentary. It was 1969, across the pond in the UK, and the film shows a pantless gammon and protesters slinging these righteous gemstone slogans. Keep white solidarity. Black man'll have the whip hand over the white man. Britons unite and fight. 50 years later, the deluxe editions of these remixed hits are still resonating back in the USA today. It's like Redumplican candidates, in their native passion to suppress the free voice of citizens and gabble on about retina ID scans at the polling booth, took their talking points from watching the Fab Four write Get Back as satire aimed at their contemporary conservatives. USA! Beware Puerto Ricans! Beware the Mohican! Beware, beware. Pakistani's gonna take your Goya bean pack jobs. Contrast that with Democrat brats chanting, We're not going back to that fiery, abysmal, bro-magnum baptismal. It's been another long, lucrative year of fear. Fear in the ear. What does any of it mean? It means green. Get in while you can. Surely we've got another 50 years of these Shart-busting hit movers. The algorithm can't wait to find an audience for the newest White Claw Savior Slaw. Welcome one and all. Our monochromatic doors stay open. White apologists, start your erudite outrage channels and hustle your red bubble while the markets dork out for the whales to spout. Keep us squealing content with infinite content. Digital bullion in my cart. Hands steady and relaxed. Happiness is a warm mouse at the line. Pointer finger hovers the clicker. Impulse waiting to be triggered. Bottoms up! 24/7 content mongers be fragging on the never-ending tour bus. Bang, bang, bong, bong, bang, bang, bang. Ah. What are you doing off of your phone? Get back on your phone right now. Did I say you could stop scrolling? Scroll down. Saddle up. A dance song to straddle here. A pundit on the pulpit with a rage on there. And fear to supply Logitech warriors everywhere. Drive those Nielsen ratings with the word pierced incarnate. Ain't never gonna give it up and let whataboutery be. Why have humility? The upper and lower bodies of a demi-demo corporatocratic republic, limited in its C6 span, can poop back and forth forever. I want you to watch me defecate in public. How's that? Make a nation feel the global humiliation. Give the Quora Digest wordsmiths what they tune in for. Give them their all-caps Happy Meal. Yes, I'll have an order of the Shock Addict in Awe, Double Roasted Woke Melt, Privileged Hot Flash, and the Strong Buck Buck Bang Bang Dum Dum Baby Truth Lolly. How great would it be to live in a land where the only thing you need to signal is your turning blinker, 'cause you do care about your fellow big-wheel road-hogging armed dildos. That the United States is even entertaining a sore-losing boil, a Thumbelina Blister who sows discord at every waking hour as a valid comeback Christian candidate should mandate pause. Let's talk leadership for boneheads. What presidential example was it for youth league sports, little leaguers, junior golfers when, in 2020, DJ Turd, the mad captain running for re-election, was such a sore loser that when his staff told him he lost, when his lawyers told him he lost, when his vice president urged him to admit that he lost, when judges whom he appointed and for whom Christians prayed fervently for told him he lost, when states refused to toss ballots at his bulldozing request, he couldn't just take a bow, be a good sport, and go fish. No. I won by a lot, he cried in all caps. Uh-oh. He committed to the Shart. Why? No fair, rah, rah. The game is rigged. No fair if you're out, if you run outside the baseline. Total dookie, you can't steal the glove off of Mookie. Their crowd is fake. Ump is blue in the face with fraud. If we didn't win, and we did win, you'll never have another season. Without me, your stadium will be empty. Your game will be dead. I am Mr. Baseball. I'm the big chew. Baby got ejected by 81 million people, but he wouldn't leave the field. Too weak to admit defeat, Bromate feigned strength to bandage his bruised ego. His crowd held out with bated breath for the mothership to beam down. Wait, just wait. He'll come back to our side. Wait another month. Hold the line. Hold. Rally time. Do. In that pre-inaugural 11th hour, he needed a Hail Mary. Unscrupulous players. Fake electors. A bigger crowd. A wild crowd to pledge allegiance to a lost cause. And tell him it ain't so. Despite repeated smackdowns, after months of scheming last-minute personal and political party favors, the mad captain kickstarted a capital jamboree. This cornered animal wasn't gonna just leave office without breaking more records, for even while he very publicly baked a fraud layer cake with false claim fillings, his dubious election fraud spelunking led to the largest criminal investigation in U.S. history. Justice for thee, but not for me. Oh, I committed a fraud. It's not a crime if it's done by President Bing Bong. It's like a wrong note in music. The wrong note played once is wrong, but played twice sounds nice. Smells like curdled latte and pumpkin-spiced lice. Rigged election, jizz erection. I won. It was stolen. It was the Shart of the Squealer. Watch me now. This hotty-gotty character getting paid by the character to stoke turmoil while he deflects any responsibility for it. Hundreds and hundreds of F-around and find out patriots without a reservation have been incarcerated in the orange baby's atrophying name because he's not guilty. He just needed a thick centerfold for his living memoir as he workshops his everlasting dream of an epitaph. Mama, can you hear me? Big Papa, are you proud of your baby boy? I had a crowd! On a ceremonial day of constitutional business, to tally votes which the states had already certified, his instigating and siding with insurrectionists to whom he sent his love was as ineffectual as it was illegitimate in complaint. Yes, Why bother rallying votes when it's rigged when you win and double cream stuffed when you don't? Bro, we got double trouble, double trouble, double trouble, double trouble. Why have civil process when you can rally a wild congressional rumble of wannabe cosplaying luchadores? Slam, bam, thank you, Uncle Sam. Why be humble when your dumpomaniacs are humble bragging a vow to hang the party turncoat? Double time to the gallows. Everybody gets a blindfold and a whistle and a blowpoke for the gristle. I'll push the piñata. You beat out the frittata. Come on, bro, swing for the borderline. You gotta give it everything. Unfortunately, Mike Pence wasn't loyal enough to make the threequel. Can you imagine the warm reception if Al Gore had the courage to refuse certifying his own loss in 2000? If Joe Biden had the courage to refuse certifying the 2016 election? The madhouse of 2020 and January 6 wasn't politics. It was an open attempt to trample, discard, and jettison the will of the people with the full unofficial doo-doo support of the sitting squatty potty-mouth president. In contrast to the lies manifested in the Capitol mob, disciples at large said that Braveheart and Horns didn't represent them, and complicit in their years contributing to and normalizing what they would have furiously bolted to label as domestic horror if the day was carried out by any other faction. Can you imagine the saturated thumbnails and Pavlovian titles if the mob had been made up of asylum seekers? Vo-Führer News reassured their viewers with curated soft edits, propaganda spin, and an angle to edge on. There, what about this? And what about that? And puzzled woodchuck spun blame on invisible actors and ghosts. We witnessed the beating of Capitol police officers by weak men yelling, "Sir, this hurts me more than it hurts you," while they wielded flags flying back the blue. And the mad captain himself sanctioned that day the greatest movement in the history of our country. Okay, good. Makes sense. If it was so great, why even get defensive about failing to assert his role as commander-in-chief? It's tough to twitter in the trenches of the trough. If it was so great, why are proud lifetime Republican voters so reluctant to commemorate with him the events of that overcast Own the Libs Day? React to my truth. It was a red urinal cake movement, alt-right, and its swirling particles in our politics still stinks of doo-doo. Keeping it cloudy with an oath of party before country. Service providers, please ticker an alert to your subscribers to inform them. Rupert Murdoch, walking the tightrope of a red falling knife, confirmed under oath that Fox News was culpable of election fraud disinformation. His star commentators knew they peddled deceptive doo-doo, and he let them mark their droppings all over his territory. United in grievances by design, the headline leads to intrigue, leads to watch time, leads to drama, leads to ratings and dollar bills. Hear ye, all y'all bunkhousing peons. Be the pennies on the eyes of billionaires. Fox News settled with Dominion voting systems to the tune of $787 million. A $787,000,000 tax-deductible company write-off because voting machines were compromised, there was mass voter fraud, or because Fox News Entertainment kept their customers satisfied, united in a monocular vision of manufactured anger and doped on Dominion lies. Had to stay on brand, keep the flames fanned. Victims of catastrophic feelings don't give a fact unless it aligns with previous programming, such as oversimplified, disastrous, and shocking accounts of faithful patriots made to look like villains. Keep 'em mollycoddled. Drama is the whole business model. And if you've got to drama, then melodrama. The ensuing sane-washing of January 6th is unforgivably irresponsible. How has the former president been disciplined? Free platform for his predictable pathologies. Slur-a-train without windbreakers. Flagrant, buttercupped kiss-up. As if nothing happened. Merciful Murdoch, go easy on the baby. He is still a child. He's a welcome guest on broadcasting podcasts with self-congratulatory toolin' fools, as useful as a Navy recruit seaman with the surname Swallow. Megan Kelly reacts. Such a nice interview. Yes, stroke the blown-out tweeter's terrific ego. Give him a comfortable safe space to get in his feelings. Unspool his doodle and wet his noodle. Point tiny digits. Spoon feed soft poopy. Wine and wine uninterrupted. And who's a happy boy? Big baby's happy baby. Don't push back or he'll squish squish waddle away like a trumpy trout. He's getting off the hook. Just as Judge Jeannie decried Hillary Clinton could not be president because of a criminal investigation, potential indictment, hearings that overlap election cycles, the country cannot let him off so easy. Don't let him waddle away. He's calling Maria and Judge Lugg's Janine. He's calling Lou Dobbs and Brian, kill me. Interrupt that slandering salmon. Hold anus ignoramus to the fire he sharted. Hold liable that turd lawless, like you require Kamala's flaws be flawless. His wilt is a moot point. He cannot remake our oval his orifice. The dump recently slipped up on his pink slime strategy to delegitimize 2020 and briefly admitted his loss. But when pressed about it, he said, I said that sarcastically. Of course, right in line with the words of King Solomon. Babies, if you have your Bibles, turn with me, please, to Proverbs 26, verses 18 and 19. Like a madman sharting fire missiles and death, so is the former president who deceiveth his supporters and saith, Give me a break. Was I not joking? 10 years of this top-down conditioning of distrust in elections without supportive evidence. No matter the outcome, declare you are the winner. In 2016, the unvetted Frumpy Grumpy's word was rigged, and it was so rigged, he won. In 2020, the word was rigged and steel, and there was no steel to stop. It also didn't stop Dumplicans from celebrating their other seat wins across the country. In 2024, the word is rigged and steal and cheat, and a power tactic so blunt and baffling you wouldn't believe. Don't vote. A cheater on the golf course, a cheater on his taxes is pegging us to watch out for cheaters. So let's take Mr. Weave at his wafting word about his cheating instincts. Ignore the chaotic bellwether. Vote. There will be recounts and lawsuits and death threats. Oh my! Vote. 2 days after his 2020 loss, President Pretzel founded the Political Action Committee Save America. Save America's been paying the Burgermeister's legal fees while he hamburglars out of multiple criminal clamshell sessions. We know DJ John Forbes Barron is desperate when he begs us to follow the truth, and not because it'll set us free, but because he's its bigly gimme shareholder. As a related side piece, where words are many, Nunes the truth. Devin Nunes cashed in on a career of congressional glugging to sit at the right side of moderated truth with strong borders. Pravda! Empower the deceitful right on! Not a fraction of voting irregularities were large enough to influence the 2020 election outcome, despite voter intimidation, poll working intimidation, state officials' intimidation, voter purges of eligible citizens, Cracker Jacks gerrymandering in the Lord's favor. It's as if an all-seeing God is unable to see across a man-imagined line in the sand. Nothing irregular about an attempted and failed crook-neck auto coup. Please, can we get a fast-acting stool softener or rectum speculum to clean out and cleanse us of this irregular blockage? Cut off the lifeblood of faux fur-sponsored content. Cancel your TV bundles that continue to pipe foxy bile into family rooms from the indentured flattery-tootin' apprentice source. He rides a white horse and promises peace now when he never transferred power peacefully then. And the rear-loading dump was a no-show rotisserie chicken for the last inauguration. Desperate in his last day of dimming power, he was busy as bacteria, slaving away on granting pardons to felon friends and conspiring partners. He even contemplated a preemptive pardon for his future self because he is as stupid as he is despicable. Not fit, not a patriot. Don the dump is unfit, dump is not a patriot. No ham feelings, just facts. Shuck it. And that goes for patriot acts like Mel Gibson, who is more demanding about his blowjobs than he is we elect a decent and intelligent person. Every day is a doomsday in the vacuous mind of this dysfunctional jumbotron Dumbo, this degenerating bone spur mandarin who doesn't give an upside-down flying Donald Duck about country first. This master cannibal of psych warfare. This I may not understand, I may not care, that's just the way I wear my hair. This gifted grifter.
White collar holla!
This beautiful loser. While in office, every tragedy strategy was, when are we gonna talk about me? He made an identity game out of a global health crisis and exploited it for his own dishonest name. He knew it wasn't true when he said it's like a flu. It'd just dissipate in the warmth of an Easter sunrise in time for stock market miracles to wash over and baptize. Never forget, as hundreds of thousands died to keep from spooking Wall Street during his re-election bid, he was so pro-life. He made the choice to consider citizens first as skid externalities on the profit and loss of his personhood. He put his political polling over sustained effort to unify, love, and care for thy neighbor in the midst of chaos. The cost? Greater chaos. Can I get a false witness? What personal insights or political positions from this un-American con man are yet to be discovered? He's not a builder. In the words of his son, this isn't their Republican Party anymore. It's a redumplican dumpster dive, all right. He won't build us back up from the wreckage of his GOP rebrand. in 2008, John McCain picked a bigot to campaign with, but recall this hopeful moment from one of McCain's rallies that year. During a Q&A, McCain was fielding questions. A person with Fox condition spoke into the mic. "I can't trust Obama," she said, as McCain listened and nodded. "I've read about him, and he's an Arab." Shaking his head in vigorous disapproval, McCain took the mic away from her. No, ma'am. He's a decent family man. Citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. Now contrast that with the mental fortitude of this year's GOP back-on front-runner. "Hide your pets! They're eating out the chili dogs." And the ticker tape parades. "Pharaoh fans fetch for Ovaltan. Hallowed be thy pumpkin. Here, Wolf. Get it, Whiskers. Come on, boys. 2 strokes a hole. A felching good time digging for my liquid gold. Ready? Go felch!" We're at a turning point. Sucker Tucker claws himself Carlson, who privately calls Dump a demonic force, delivers impassioned admonishment to the Dump cult, appealing to their base desires to pwn the opponent. "Them Dems are smearing diarrhea water on the family room walls. There'll be more of it if you don't nip it in the bud. No, take some responsibility. Prepare ye, dumb baby, for the firmament of justice. Bad girls, spank." But Carlson, how did he cover J6 maggots smearing blood and turd on the walls inside the Capitol? "Here's Daddy! Daddy's home!" with a gentle word. "Carry on, my misunderstood children." Civic duty has been conflated with loyalty and pledging fealty to a never-ending dumper's dumpster fire. Tic-tac-toe, the doomsday dumper. In a country spinning on the axis of excess, where reckless road rage on the prairie is an unalienable right, where virility masquerades as valor, where the medal of a patriot is commensurate to the size of flag that silos and girds the loins of the ultra-prime-ribbed. Huggies for that writhing, harder-to-fit candidate, now edible in true swollen technicolor. See that tainted Ovaltang fidelity come shining through. Dissolves when wet. DJ Turd, the John Miller Dawn, is not just a withering man who is unserious. This is not a man. This Carolyn Gallego is a dishonest minestrone mess, a damaged boy crying wolf. This is a weak, unwell child still suffering from being deprived of his father's touch. Money couldn't buy his father's love, 'cause it was daddy's money. So he turned to a nation to fill his lonely, gaping void. January 6th was shooting somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue without losing voters, and worse, the disingenuous like Bill O'Reilly, and the snickering, "That's not an insurrection! I'll show you insurrection!" And the sovereign gaslighting factions of alternative researchers still resort to a lifted leg on Lincoln, a coward's argument that on January 6th, as the Confederate battle flag breached the Capitol building for the first time ever, Captain Beef and Jerkmeat, the only former president twice impeached, said to march peacefully and patriotically. Well, apple pie on bayonet. For your limited lifetime only. Enjoy the pissed-off profits from your bestsellers, your tricked-out candy colon helmet buckets, your wee scented We the People candles, and patron trad ma'am only fans while you toucan Sam. Oh, how the turntables. Jesus is an unpaid intern for opportunity at the Pitchfork Convention. Find him at the merch booth, selling star-strangled bookmarks for the official King James in Chinese leather, get your name engraved in gold. Fancy and authentic slaying of the spirit. Small donation tips to get your whips and wet red your lips. The Lord accepts breadmo. Don't forget your Rambro collectible in a horny crown of bullets. And your white fight, never flight high tops. Opportunity is nigh. Pick the name above all names. Grab that lardy bag of abundance while it's steaming hot. Niche down on fear for the money shot. Light it up. Here it is. The headlining act to burn it all down. The Fear Flamer. Go on. Blast your leader's walk-up song. I fought the law with a small trust fund and I won. Fight, fight, fight. Fight to humanize a life career of dehumanizing humans. Fight to beautify the 52 miles of new border wall that for 4 years truly secured our people. Ready the hungry cyber trucks. Buttonfly Jeans Jesus is leading the refugee invasion on a gentle Jenny. Yes, they're only swimming the moat to give a dem a vote. Keep the swamp privatized. Privatize the weather service. Privatize the wind. Tariff the wind. Who am I to speak? I'm not a dem. I'm not a lizard. I'm not a dump. I'm a $50 DIY craft. A splish-splish filthy fish. I'm not perfect. That's why I wear a diaper. Sometimes I miss the mark. Fight for Sharpies! While we shop goodwill for the goodwill of corporations to pitch in, fight for the freedom to not afford insulin? What stock market? We dug up Fido and Fifi, boiled down their bones, and keep their stock canned in the fridge. What measly me, girdling thee, tax break, is worth suffering this licentious lint sniffer? Consider the pawns, high-flying on the promise of the friendly sky, supplying the wind beneath the wings of the profit whores, whose swords grew parallel to inflation. The pawns lift up the brass sacks of enterprise in full support. Poor pawn says, "Look at us, bro. Inflation can touch down soft for all we care, 'cause, wait, I'm not buckled in, Mr. CEO. Wait, stop it. Stop it. Don't push me. Wait, no, why?" The CEO watched his pawns plummet from the plane into the vanishing and turned to his management. "Hey guys, look down. They're waving high. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Trickle-doodle-doo." What suppressive policy or executive disorder is worth subjecting peasant citizens to this navel-glazing, leaky, secret-secreting cheese wheezer and his crony balonies indefinitely? An exhausted nation, an exhausted planet, begs for earplugs and eyeball toothpicks.
It's a coat of arms sleeper, and the eagle taps out. Barbed tongues take an easy rest. Blunder lips flexes white and tight till the stars knock out in the crest.
Little white letters in a bright red hat ain't repairing a nation's blues. It'll take generations to flush out and detox from the toxicity of these geo-cities. It's something to together stand up to and reject, all while dancing in its face. Giddy up, fair! Squeal! And what would appropriately mock petty yo-heave-ho, father bingo, the tyrant birth challenger? Vote. Double-check your registration every election. Make an emergency plan to vote. And then rush this video to an undecided citizen who loves Jesus almost as much as they love Baby Shark, Beyonce, and the Beatles. Is your tax-exempt church coaxing you and your congregation to, in a vote of Christian conscience, cast a smudged dump on your ballot? The Spirit poured on him an anointing. In his Father's middle name, Christ, he is here to marshal us. Our personal Spartacus. Shut the front and back door to that big tent Dutch oven. And tie the doozy in the offertory basket. The president can't control the price of gas, but they can try to control the vapors from their barking spider. The current vice president swore an oath to support the Constitution and defend it against enemies foreign and domestic. Speaking of domestic, her sneaky opponent hasn't even read the Constitution. Some even say he's never read a book, not even a little golden book. To quote the flip of the flop Marco Rubio, friends do not let friends vote for con artists. This is it, the hour of the election. Last call for voter undecided. Recently, Bro Rogan invited Dump to his Broteen experience. 'Cause, you know, people on the farm haven't had a chance to get to know the real Dump over the course of his 10-year campaign. And Dump aired out his air accordion with a 3-hour concertina. Their conversation was a lot of, "We're not gonna make it. No, there will be bad things. Unless the country gives the apprentice his pot of God and his sorcerer's wand. I'm not fracking around. This country is dead," Dump said. For every word he hacks up, you need a Snopes on site. Can't pin the truth on his post-truth social timeline. Brogan, high off his own supply of fart, was too steamrolled to put Orangina's nose in his own Shart. So an unobstructed Dump got to lay pipe. Same old fudge packing to unpack. Soft squeeze in the breeze. Snap crapple in sidewalks. Trees sucking up water. Both Dump and Bro Jokin shared their passion for the cage. Dump acted his age, 12. Name-dropping, gossiping, everything left to imagination that was prey of exaggeration. Serious sus and sus insane. A gentle keel-haul conversation with brownouts for the truth. A flake shaved off the golden calf. Sir, when you got in the White House, what was that like? Wai, wawa. Yeah, but what was that like? Wah, wah, no Melania, just me and my concubine Melancholia. Okay, but you had no experience. Well, I had to decide. Do I do the apprentice? Do I do the oval? So I combined them. Oval apprentice. Oh, genius. Genius, right? And I left a 6-foot Lincoln log in Lincoln's bed. Ah, wow. Hallowed be thy oval. But how'd you learn to McGovern and make it Orange Pie Hole Palace? 10,000 people. I dump on the rug, they get a shovel. And your people? How'd you pick 'em? Well, it's very dangerous, like bobbing around the apple crabs on Miss Universe, but actually more like poker. The deck is stacked, so I had to really shuffle things to get out with a fortune. Some cards are super stiffy. Stiffy, sir? And what is a stiffy? Civil servants wouldn't give me the reach around. Can you believe it? Oh, you poor rapist. You are such a victim. Daddy has needs, right? You're allowed to have needs. And if a lowly splintered Jesus could learn obedience through the things which he did suffer, how much more will my stupid 4-star generals suffer my retribution? Whoa. But it was a wonderful life. I made believe I was Potter. I would have done the First Lady if she wasn't my daughter. Like how? Like pop, pop, pop. And women are so stupid. They had no right to be so vicious in 2016. But you know me. When I get the itch, I move hard on women like a son of a, which I have every right to do. True, people'll come around. There's no room in freedom phonology for, no, sir, I can't. I'll just fire you. Yes, man, yes. That's why we love you. I take no lip, shoot from the hip, weave deep, weave wide. Weavin' wide, I'm a-sittin' in my sewage ringside. Stay hard and strong like Dana White. Facts. Nothing more punk rock than assault on Bud Light. Right. Nothing queer about a kid queef beefing a beer can. A papaya pumper splashing the bass hole like a man. A drunken werewolf gone kinky for copper tone. Not obsessed, secure in his sex. All right, small or largemouth. No holes barred in an airtight cowboy Crisco dildo cockfight. They better start practicing their squats and ready those quads, 'cause I'm coming back quick with the firing squad. Do you regret anything you did while in office? I should not have left. What are you most proud of from then? Well, I'm the only billionaire hard hat to CEO your country, and you need a hard hat for the cork plug butt pong and the hard on my ding dong. You know I went commando under the white oak resolute desk? I would have had you guessed earlier if I had guessed. Yes, the underminer-in-chief wears no Under Armour under the apron. Slopping all over the place and sweating pure Diet Coke. You gotta respect this. Yeah, it's not like you're a narcissist. God bless. What'd you say about tariffs? Thank you. So beautiful. I'm gonna build an impenetrable economy with a lot of luxurious load-bearing walls, just blocks and blocks of concrete cheese without the Swiss. 100K strip malls on your wrist. I could see that on 60 Minutes, but what about the left reacting, resist, ow, ow, resist? No, they won't get to. My genital generals won't let them break their blue shirt dawn to dawn, down with Dawn Donkey Kong curfew. There you go. Full send, no dissent. You want to know why California doesn't have renewable coal? Why? They're not raking their forests. Oh, that's like hilarious. Yep. Plus, we're gonna get tax rates down from 21 to below the age of European consent. Ha! I'm a peon, you're a peon on the peons. And what about repealing the ACA? Will your plan deny people with pre-existing Fox conditions? Have you even solidified a replacement plan? I'm glad you noticed. I do have a plane. If you want to talk dirty, I'm talking 0 dark 30 dirty. You should see my specimen of a pilot wearing a blindfold. Sir, please don't make me thirsty in my sweatpants. I'm telling you, bro. Bring a cold compress to break the fever. Don't show up without sweatbands or suspenders for your lever. Or, bro, bring it in. Can you talk about voter ID? Well, we wouldn't have to, but they're importing the votes. Burn the boats! I've enjoyed voting by mail, but that's neither here nor there. We can't have citizens and officials and deployed service members mailing in their ballots. Too big to rig. That's why we need incentive. Like Leon Tusk paying voters in whale musk and sweepstakes. Why vote if you're not getting paid? It's only fair. And every voter who doesn't sign a petition, put a tank in their face at the polls. If you're a true Christian, you won't take issue with staring at the sun. That's me, son of Father Fred Christ. Does my light eclipse, or does it reflect in your eyes? In addition to that, now we have this tremendous disgrace. You send your little Johnson off to school, and the school changes him from without any parent signature, from a hung horse in the making to a switched mail-in ballot. And when you arrive to school to pick up Johnny, it's blue on the face of the envelope. No, a Democrat slot? Yes, cheaters. Wow. You can't hear your kid, but it's going, "Ah, I don't want this. Daddy, it's me. Unseal me." And if you look at Take a look what's going on with our houses. What's it gonna take for our houses to start taking our clown faces seriously? Why are we walking around with metal keychains on our keychain? Keys don't prove that face is tied to the deed. Indeed. Just how exactly does your house really know it's you? Every time you walk in and out the door, Face ID. I agree. Your kids want friends over at the house? Friends have to pre-register. That could be a boon for the Biome Dome, but good for small business too. Who knew? A customer takes a chili vindaloo poo and destroys the loo in the restaurant? The stall locks that fanny bum out forever. Want to ration toilet water? Glutea Maximus Rump ID in the toilet seat. Invalid ingrown? Go to jail. Speaking of invasion, how are you going to handle the cannibals foraging for citizenship? Crazy. Well, some could say my mummy ate dogs too, because she immigrated here as a very poor person and worked low wage for years. Therefore, cannibals should not have it any easier than her. That reminds me of your debate with Kamala. It should have been just a conversation. Objective observers need to be able to watch you eating the dogs without a time limit. Well, not only that, but security didn't check Kamala for bringing those claws. Can you believe she insulted crowd? But none of that mattered. I had the last word even when I didn't. In terms of crowd, what is crowd? It's spicy and big, very big. And it's mine. The press feeds off you. We feed off you. You're an engorged host. What is press to you? It needs to be fair, needs to be free. And by fair, I should be free to not be quoted. I am the weaver of the weave. It's just common sense. And the key to common sense is illogical. That's why I excel at mixed mathematics arts. You know, mugshot edition. How does it feel to be the first convicted felon to run for president? It feels like winning, without precedent. What'll you do if you lose another election? I just applied for my Britizenship, so we'll have to see. What about all the 2020 fraud evidence you've talked about for years? You ever going to show it? Oh, I'm not stupid sometimes all the time. There's just too many papers to accordion for. You want to talk about whales? Sure. You know why the whales went crazy? Ask me why. Why? Because windmills. Wind is killing the bald eagles, and we don't like bald. Careful, sir. But wind, that's something I wanted to get to. You brought your bagpipes? Want to close us out with a fall number? Or how about a song for the fallen? Before the dumpster could blow his ending out, something amazing happened. After 3 hours without water, something about Brogan saying fallen fell upon the felon former president. Breaking from his best impression of his surrogate father, Roy Kahn, his nose shrunk, his paint peeled. He grew a heart, and for a fleeting moment, he became a real boy. As Donald's dump deflated, his inner Jonah emerged, and he finally found the courage to apologize. My real name is Fraud Abuse, and Waste is my middle name, he started instead of sharted. I'm not one to give dignity to others if I am not to benefit. But please, hear me out. In this, Joe Bro and I are in agreement. Give the police the dignity due them. With that, I acknowledge every officer who defended Congress and our Capitol on January 6. I acknowledge that the day was no occasion for me or my protest, though I made an occasion of it. I acknowledge the officers who subsequently took their own lives in the wake of J6, to the supporter of mine who took a bullet for me that day. Had I not invited you the previous December, you'd still be with us. taking full responsibility. I should never have sent out that invite. To every civilian seriously injured, to the more than 100 officers injured by the frothing nut jobs with "Save Dump" on their lips, while I was too busy throwing ketchup in the kitchen with a bad combo of Yippee and the Yips. To all of their families and to your country who watched it all unfold in disbelief, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was a sore whack loser. For all of this and more, I do apologize. I just got off the phone with Fox News and Newsmax. They too will issue statements of apology. At my request, they've agreed to replace their highest-rated programs with uninterrupted deprogramming until the year 2100. We were small, we were short-sighted, we are losers, and we are truly sorry. And to this, Joe Brogan reacted. Get out of here with that wide weave. What is that? Your best Biden? What are you even talking about? Let's get back to the smack. Well, where was I? You were saying women are stupid? Oh, right. Should savages without trunks play in women's sports? Don't be redunculous. Should men play in women's shorts? That's par for the course, but not just play, 'cause biologically, a real nasty elephant can handle a man-handler, whether they like it or not. Is the sink clean? Give it a ring. If not, cheaper to leave her be. Now that's comedic timing, sir. L Google O's LZ. LOLZ's nuts in the nasty, Joe Jabroni. I'm your biggest student. But they loved me, Joe Bro. Oh, they loved me. For all of his grumbling, the dump has the cleanest water intuition that people are the real media, and he delights in making the public his target. It's a parlor trick. Joe Bro and Dump's 3-hour conversation was not a long-a-thong of Dump's personal grievances. Bing Bong denigrated the USA over and over and over, while somehow, for some still unknown prospective reason, while he managed to plug Russia as a fat war machine. Dump speaks as a wise guy demagogue warring on America's psyche. Is it not the behavior of His Highness leveraged? Whither will it, this bad seed seeping into our pathogen-prone soil, our political ecosystem infertile, our roots wroth in rot? It didn't take a third eye to predict that Dump's campaign takeover of Madison Square Garden last week would be filled with misogyny, racism, and violent rhetoric. The rally's opening insult pony included a roast of American citizens. Puerto Rico is a garbage island in the middle of the ocean. There wasn't a word of condemnation from Dump when Dump took the lectern because the joke's appeal, like the rest of the trash talk at the rally, was in total harmony with the platform's gospel of otherism. Let's have some fun, fans danced. In the garden of higher primates, other people are the punchdown punchline because prejudice is the point. Why would Dump disapprove of a pre-approved sanitation joke read off a teleprompter? I don't want to be prejudiced, but let me be prejudiced. There's no face of Christ on the face of iced migrants. Once upon an announcement speech, the Dump's words were shocking. Today, their greatest hits. In the beginning, Obama was a Kenyan, and Hillary was a puta. Now, say they, every Dem is a lib degen, and Comrade Kamala's a low-IQ Samoan Malaysian. These top-down top-liners repeated in chorus amongst the Red Sea waving camera phone candelabras. The biggest surprise at the MSG event came from Stephen Miller, Dump's speechwriter, who seemed to doubt the second coming of his salvation. "AmericanShip is for Americans," he said, "and that means North, Central, and South from the Arctic archipelago to the round of Cape Horn. Like the mummy of our dear Lord Dump, AmericanShip is for everyone. Speaking of garbage, J.D. Vance was also on Bro Brogan's pod this week, and J.D. spilled some seed about his personal prayer for the country. At his residence, Mr. Vance has planted a jumbo sign in the front yard with a downlight over the GOP's creed. In short, the creed reads, "We believe babies begin in the batter box." Proverbs 31, verse 9, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts. If a family is forced to split at the border, the purebred child will not make a fuss, but the evil infidel will cry like a wuss." 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Love is a puffer, and puffers get punched. There's no punchline like a disabled. We assume the worst, especially in others. We rejoice in the iniquities of the libs. The country is full of low IQ nasty. A military is as vulnerable as its transgender. Real men piss brass kidneys. We're not provoked. You are. Elections are fraud. Above all, the greatest of these are the 3 golden rules to mock, defame, and divide. Matthew 22, verse 21. "Render therefore unto cheese weaver dingus pizza Little Caesars. Through the winds of Dump Tower does coal kindle anew. We believe in a felon's right to vote as we stand by our dump. And lastly, rapists are for fathers and daughters, mothers and sons. Rapists are for everyone." Dump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, recalled witnessing firsthand Dump's fascist tendencies. While Redumplicans outrage at Democrats having the audacity to quote the one-time top cabinet member of Dump, let's appreciate the advance of a gifted politician like Vance. In 2016, J.D. texted a colleague to say that the blame for the Dump rising lies with the Redumplican Party's collective neglect. He said that, unless the party offered something to their base comprised of poor, low-educated white souls, a demagogue would. Bang, bang, bang! Vance texted the discouragement that Dump could be America's Hitler, if not a useful Nixon. And now, with the full backing of his party jumping for X, J.D. Vance can do a little Shart dance, look his children in the eye, and sigh. Daddy stands with rapist. In his memoir, Mike Pence recalled that Dump wondered what might have been if they hadn't held a rally, if no one had gone to the Capitol on January 6th. The ending was too terrible otherwise. Speaking with Fox News, it was no surprise to hear Pence say that he will not endorse the Dump Dawn this year. Pence also said in a speech that Dump demanded him choose between the U.S. Constitution and Dump loyalty. Pence made it clear that Donald Trump should never, ever be the president again. Nuff said, no? 2 weekends ago, Beyoncé introduced Kamala at a rally in Texas. Sing a new song of dignity. Kamala beseeched the youth to play the long game. Believe in the promise of America. It's not easy, never been, never will be, but freedom and opportunity for all is worth fighting for. Let's have a couple rounds of Instant Karmala's gonna get her done. Let's render a supreme verdict of 100 million. Personally, I want to get back to whining about the important issues like music and the top song squirming up the Billboard charts. Yes, to the otters muscling in the middle. But I don't know enough about her. How many hugs she handed out in an undefiled legal system, that every politician pivots in the ballroom, that her husband sprinkles nutritional yeast on his avocado toast. How can we help you read the menu? It's a difficult choice of consolidation of unchecked Redumplican power, dismantling of rights and liberties under the blurring of church and state, treason for civil servants defying orders to bomb windmills and drink Drano, continued plume of orange chaos as is by design. And the other choice is not that. One candidate wants a federal ban on price gouging. The other candidate wants to perforate your earhole with his bronze trumpet. The penis gallery will vote with their eggplant. Dump tells the bros the prize is the presidency. It's like a quarter arcade claw to the golden golf ball. Exciting, but better, like Super Bowl XXX's halftime show.
Yellow rain, yellow rain.
Can you believe it? 3 nominations, no trophy, and my wife still won't hold my hand? He is everything. Ew. And you don't know enough about Karmala? Nonsense. She's not a rapist. She's not a sadist for sedition who insists on impunity. Man up, bro. Droopy Cheeto thinks his inability to pronounce people's names makes him funny. What is he, 3? Someone burped the big boo-boo baby. Karmala doesn't yammer on about ratings, and did anyone see my crowd I left high and dry in the hella Coachella desert? On the Dump Force home, Dump showed the Nelk boys his bobbing bobblehead and let them film his cockpit. Karmala doesn't threaten to withhold federal disaster aid from states that didn't vote for her. I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy, Karmala said. She doesn't threaten to sick the military on citizens she doesn't like. Hide your daughters, hide your wife. Daddy's back in town to threaten your life. Don't tread on me with the jacked up time. Maybe it'd be funny if it wasn't so heartbreaking. Unlike the Dump chafe, not once has Kamala Harris invited foreign nations and adversaries to damage her political opponent.
USA, USA.
The undomesticated Big Oompa was never exonerated, never absolved from criminal probes while he was in office. He was just president. And when you're president, they let you do it. You can get away with anything. The evangelical chosen is a perverted 78-year-old boy. Under deposition, Dump in Decline could not distinguish in a photograph between E. Jean Carroll, whom he assailed, and his second wife, Marla. The race isn't just between a tyke felon running around on the field against a 3-strikes prosecutor. It's in livid satire. Millions of voters are on the fence between a paragon of rape culture and a former deputy district attorney who brought rapists of children to justice. It's a toss-up. I'm undecided. Raising kids is hard. Kamala wants to give a $6,000 tax credit to families welcoming their first newborn. Lo! How many amputated friends and families are still split since the GOP has made from their rib a false god of a dump? It's hard to raise your parents, right? We are addicted to the sight and sound of sponsored rage. We're bottom-line feeders sustaining a scroll and click life. Corporate networks care more about their advertisers, not family. It's in their sponsored interest to keep family reunions awkward and curmudgeons warring in the commercial spirit of Christmas. Almighty right, fearful of its left, when the institution is so radical it trades right of its world center. No major party is left of the corporate lobby. There's a flap to the east and a flap to the west, and a Great Seal apparatus stamped in the Fiat flagship parking lot. Turn off the talking heads projecting the division and promoting the transmission of Agent Orange. Mute the dump-facing Lambros screaming free thought through fishnet hashtags. Stop paying for mom and pop's cable. Put some parental controls on their phones and flip their bottom-up porch flag flying in distress. Only one candidate has been vocal in advocating for lifting people up. The other spiteful child rides the slow arc to his sentencing. Cue YMCA on the pianola and lube up. The United States is lousy, bad, a disaster, and its people the enemy within. If I lose my erection, there'll be WW3, and no cows or country left for thee. You will deny a king his rightful throne? Broadcasters, get hard and flood the red zone. What vision? Respectfully, sir, if it's that bad for you, get back to the empire your mother came from. At America. If you're online and listening, the Dump Dawn is our best foot forward. This is the dump we die on. Vote for the Dawn of the Dawn old gone. He's tired, ready to retire, running on the fumes of an orange peel-out. Cannon fire the judges who would say there is a golden bran of truth in the dump's turdy-gurdies. When we fight with our vote, it's murder she wrote. Vote next election and the next. Give his enablers a deserved timeout. Permanent intermission to think about what they'll stand for besides major minor violations, and who they'll chub for besides toxic toadstools and their compound groupies. It's time they switch out their pillows. All too right. What's left? Grab that copper tone. Hit the beach. Bake your skin to the desired black, brown, and blistered beigeness. Everything Wonder Bread won't matter until enriched white flour is made meaningless. Until dense, nutty gummies stop clinging to the Gildan word and can admit that white is not a color, but an auto-renewing imperial wit learned in bleached cathedrals. All souls won't lift in synchronized playback until that prosperity crankshaft, that ancient adoptable pre-Harry Pottery wheel, welcomes syncopated sequencing to its triggered downbeat stomp on the floor. Left, right, yield! After the flood, I'll dorsal in the lost and tossed absentee ballots under the kiss of Noah's double rainbow. In reflection, we full send the spirit of Dearest Dawn's inspired movement to the last hole beyond the sea's horizon. Get your mitts off our flag! Pack your garbage little cheeser into the rear loader truck taxiing on the tarmac, and flee off to the house of Mother McLeod. You had your crowd. Amen? With the rust deposit seeping from the bedrock to the crust, the first order of new business. Who took all the paper towels? We have a clean-up on aisle number 2. Patch up that gashing crack from the great white Shart toot. Let us relish the thought of an old dump whose nocturnal emissions run out of munitions in a tirade watching this. That Shart is a terrible Shart. Such a bad little Shart. I hate baby Shart. And here's Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt to reframe his volcanic re-truth reaction. Baby Shart is a discredited hand puppet, and that is no way to speak of a real puppet skin flute. Get his holy cheddar out of your Shart mouth. Well, I do beg your pardon.
Bang, bang, bong, bong, bing, 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 bing.
Well, after all that squishy fishy about what made Dump an exceptionally unacceptable candidate, about what makes Dump not great, truly the fartiest Shart of the farts, here we are in the week Dump has been sworn back into office. To the befuddlement of millions, the first convicted felon to play president, the oily foxglove sentenced to a slap on the wrist, won the popular vote by less than 3 inches, the distance of a puny mini portabella. The Roadhagen doggies flying "Let's go Brandon" for the last 4 years have already swapped out for "We did it, bro, we did it," proud to respect the elder rapist. Let's bro! Go, let's bro! Oh, and here's a reenactment of how January 6 broke out this year. Breaking breakers! After pardoning his son, Biden stepped down early. Kamala's our 47th president. Dump not great is scrambling to rebrand a less rigid party 8. Wait, what? Kamala did not certify the 2024 election? The appointed Tim Walz has sent the count back to the States to get corrected by true Christian electors. Karmala is inviting courageous patriots to join her in a wild pep rally at the Ellipse in D.C. These nuts. She's demanding obedience from Ivanka to terminate her dump mark dozens in China immediately. Little Lord Kushner has been sent back to camp and is a shortlisted Hot Charles recipient. Just kidding. Kamala wasn't a sore loser like the choice select Turd is. Democrats didn't fail because they spent billions on scripted ads and spammy texts, but because they missed out on the revolution of homegrown puppeteering. This show cost $50 sand to produce. Increase connective reach next erection cycle with 20 million puppet shows. Kamala lost because an unmoved Country Breakfast Comment Club watched Kamala cry fake tears with the late Audie Barkin in 2019. Empathy and compassion indicate the deceptions of the elite, but she showed that it is possible to lead in defeat with grace and humility, while at the same time refuse to lose the resolve to fight toward the light. This week, to set the record straight after his return to office, Dump held his first press conference. He signaled a change coming to a land scrolling. I am your president. I am the big Dump, and my plump is one Coke short of a diet. I've been brewing an inferno to export. Please report. My incontinent expanse will only worsen with time. If I'm ripping on my air accordion with my whipped quippings, just interrupt me as I have interrupted you, and will continue to do. I smelt it, I dealt it. I've treated the United States badly. Putin is stupid, but I'm a very dumb person, and the handlers I cupcake use me well. I'm not fooling no one, no, not nobody. As far as pardoning the violent mob on January 6, I guess it wasn't Antifa or BLM after all. Whoops. Once again, for all to hear, I acknowledge every police officer who defended our capital. I acknowledge the more than 100 officers beaten by dumb nutjobs shouting, "Save Dump!" in the street, while I was too busy watching TV and drafting a flatulent tweet. I acknowledge those officers who have since passed, and those officers surviving. I apologize to them. I apologize to their families. I apologize to your country. I was and am, now more than ever, a sore whack loser. Listen to me. Take a look at my erection. The American public is tired of it. Just look at me. I am weak. I'm not a man. You let me treat you badly because you allow me to. You're not stupid. Put me in my place. Make it interesting. When I say, wait a minute, no, wait a minute, that's your cue to stand up to me and go, looky here, ya igbe rotundin decay, ya umbe untke. Don't you know my love language by now? Talk over me. Make it dirty, like my unwashed Gertie. I'm backed up with rich soil and ready to decimate the memory of my poor mother seen behind me. Now, excuse me while I go put a fresh log on the Lincoln. Thank you, Mr. Dump. What a refreshing way to shart. We'll stay tuned for Greenland bracing to blush from greatness, the fight for Cascadia into Canada, Mexico's masterclass in geography, Panama's root canal, and many more years of plume. Also, keep watchful nose for a baby shart attack. my musical toot debut, my official foghorn, to mark this next era of everything and nothing at once, the next levy to breach dumps britches, coming soon to spotty potties and fallen fruit providers everywhere. I'm scrambling up 3 songs that are certain to get fins a-floppin' and bellies a-ploppin'. Track 1, Bing Bong. Those are all the words, and I can't wait for the lyric video. In the second track, I channel the respect Dump gives to others. Here's the title of the hymn I've been workshopping. The Great White Shart! And for track 3, in honor of our American Flaggit, the Star Strangled Banner. Well, it's still there. Today, behind the resolute desk, Dump displays his passions for president as pageant with a collage of family oval shills. Note his flex on the ghost of Father Fred Christ, relegating Daddy to the rear of the line. So don't nobody let Dump forget. Others can expound on this, but I'll put it simply. Mr. President, your mother, but more importantly, Mummy Superior's slumbering smile in a golden frame was after eating dog. Timeless. As the organist primes the palm oil pump with the Benedict hymn for hymns, go forth in love and respect. The inverse of the urges of a dump loser refilling his EDRX.
Paka, paka.